Okay, Wednesday, Grace Day. We're continuing our Truth and Grace series. And we did Truth yesterday, so today we'll be looking at some Grace, which is much easier to stomach, to handle, to accept than truth sometimes. Grace feels good. And that's what this parable is about. This parable I'm going to read is an example of Jesus teaching grace without saying this is grace. Pretty good passage, and it really rubbed some people the wrong way. Some people still don't get this passage, but this is God at work. So Matthew 20, pick it up at verse 1. We'll go verse 1 through verse 16. Parable of the vineyard workers. Okay, here we go. For the kingdom of heaven is like the landowner who went out early one morning to hire workers for his vineyard. He agreed to pay the normal daily wage and sent them out to work. At 9 o'clock in the morning, he was passing through the marketplace and saw some people standing around doing nothing. So he hired them, telling them he would pay them whatever was right at the end of the day. So they went to work at the vineyard. At noon and again at 3 o'clock, he did the same thing. At 5 o'clock that afternoon, he was in town again and saw some more people standing around. And he asked them, "Why haven't you been working today?" They replied, "Because no one has hired us." The landowner told them, "Go out and join the others in my vineyard." That evening, he told the foreman to call the workers in and pay them, beginning with the last workers first. When those hired at 5 o'clock were paid, each received a full day's wage. When those hired first came to get their pay, they assumed they would receive more pay, but they too were paid a day's wage. When they received their pay, they protested to the owner. Those people only worked for about an hour, and yet you paid them just as much as you paid us, who worked all day in the scorching heat. He answered one of them, "Friend, I haven't been unfair. Didn't you agree to work all day for the usual wage? Take your money and go. I wanted to pay the last worker the same as you. Is it against the law for me to do what I want with my money? Should you be jealous because I am kind to others? So those who are now last will then be first, and those who are first will be last." So that's good stuff. That's God. God is the vineyard owner there, the landowner, the landlord, and the workers are people who get saved. And basically, God's saying that it doesn't matter if you were saved when you were 9 and you spent your whole life saved and you did good things for the kingdom and you worked hard your whole life. You're going to get what you deserve. There's no doubt about that. You accepted Jesus as Savior. You're gonna have eternal life in heaven. That's for sure. But what this parable is saying is, and so is the person who came around at 60 years old, or 70, or on their deathbed. They're going to receive the same day's pay, the same reward as you, and that's a good thing. That's a perfect example of God's grace. We're not being graded on a curve, or that just go to prove more that it's not about our works. Our works are nothing. Our works have earned and will earn us absolutely nothing. We've talked about that. I can show you my faith by my works, but my works alone don't get me saved. My works are they're a byproduct of being saved. Once you're saved, works come, good works happen. But what this parable is saying is, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how long you've been saved, or what you've got invested. But if you've made a decision to accept Christ, you get the same benefit as the person who was born in a family who taught him Christ from birth. And that's like I said, that's a perfect example of grace. That even though maybe we don't deserve the same, humanly speaking, in a human mind, in a carnal mind, but God's not like that. God doesn't see us as deserving. If that was the case, none are deserving. All have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. but it's through Christ. Once we accept Christ, whether it be, like I said, whether it be from day one or the last day, you're gonna get that the same pay for the day, same pay for your life, same reward for your life. Um, that's grace. That's grace. That's undeserved merit that we don't really deserve, but yet God gives it freely to us. So, um, lots of good parables in Matthew. Take time to read a few today if you've got time. Tell somebody about Jesus, and thank God for His grace today. We'd be in big trouble without it. See you at church.